Hello, welcome to Lazada Insider, featuring knowledge that makes a difference. We share trusted insights, forward looking perspectives, and exclusive expert interviews to keep you ahead of the curve.
Hi everyone, I'm Chen, your host today. Since the breakout of the pandemic, people have spent more time at home. How has this stay-at-home economies impacted the retail landscape? And most importantly, how can business better tap on these opportunities? Today, we are delighted to be joined by two expert guests, Chong Hin and Sneha from Asia Insight. Chong Hin is the co-founder and CEO of Asia Insight, and he has over 20 years of research experience providing insights to help clients to build their brands and business. Joining him today is Sneha, who is the Associate Director of Asia Insight. She comes with 9 years of research experience across Asia Pacific and the Middle East. Hi, Chong Hin and Sneha. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. Firstly, we would like to know more about you. Maybe we start with Chong Hin. Please tell us more about your role and what you do in Asia Insight.
Thank you very much, Chen. Yeah, I'm the CEO and founder of Asia Insight. Asia Insight has been founded since 1996. So we are now in our 25th year, and we provide marketing research consultancy for large multinationals across the Asia Pacific region. And our clients come from industries like technology, automotive, finance, luxury brands, consumer moving products, as well as government agencies. Yeah. And before founding of Asia Insights, I held marketing and global market research positions in PepsiCo restaurants and Hewlett Packard.
How about you, Sneha?
Hi, so Sneha. I am an associate director at Asia Insight. I have been here for a year and a half, a little more than that. At Asia Insight, I manage both qual and quant research. But in research, I've generally been around for 9 years, and I've worked across three regions. So I worked in India, I have worked across the Middle East, and now I work in Asia. That aside, I've also worked with several categories. I've worked with FMCG, I've worked at tech, finance, confectionery, tourism, just to name a few. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks for the introductions. So let's go to the today topics. There's no doubt that the pandemic has driven the growth of the stay-at-home economies. So tell us, what have you observed in Singapore particularly?
Yeah, so I'd like to share from a recent online survey that we have conducted. We have done an online survey with 350 net citizens of age between 15 to 65 years old on their shopping behavior across 8 product categories. And we asked them about, what they purchase and when they purchase and whether they did it online or offline. And we compare their purchase behavior during the pre-pandemic period in 2018 and compare it with, the current situation, which is a few months ago. And I think it's not surprising for us to see the base of online shoppers increase greatly across all categories. So for most categories, it is above 20% increase or even 70% increase of online buyers, as compared to the pre-pandemic period. And it kind of reminds me of the focus group which we conducted last year during the lockdown period in Singapore. And we interviewed adults from 24 years old to 45 years old to understand how home confinement has affected their lifestyle and shopping behavior. And I guess it's no surprises that online shopping has become a very integral part of their lives, And at the initial stage, most of the consumers were scrambling to buy additional IT equipment, workstation for their work from home requirements, and also kids home-based study. Within a short span, they have to scramble and get in all the products. So some mature adults who shop online infrequently, before the pandemic period, discover kind of the wonders of the e-commerce. Example, 45 years old father said that, I did not realize that I can order such a wide range of products, spanning from food, groceries, even to furnitures and toys, and they can be delivered right at their doorstep. And his he was saying that, oh, I'm not going back to my old ways. He kind of felt guilty that he was a bit oblivious and even outdated. Yeah, so consumers were convinced of benefits of e-commerce, and I call it like the 3 Cs: convenience, comprehensive, meaning that they can buy everything, cost effective, they can save time, of traveling, and also money of driving and parking and so forth. Yeah. So we noticed that while the pandemic situation may improve, and this stay-at-home economy was still here to stay. It will be for a long, long time. And then consumer has developed these deep-rooted habits of online shopping, which we feel is kind of like irreversible.
Sure. I'm curious. So from your study, what are the top categories for online purchase? And most importantly, which are the growing categories?
Interesting you ask. So from our study that we did, based on the past 6 months purchases, the two top categories that topped the charts was fashion and beauty at 68%, at 62% and 68% respectively. Now, these categories were anyway popular online before the pandemic, but they did grow slightly. They grew by 20 to 30%. But what stood out to us was we didn't expect these categories to grow because people were staying at home. They weren't going out. They weren't socializing. They weren't going to work. So what are they using these for? And we realized that the reasons for driving this category were completely different. It stood out because people now started shopping for loungewear or just comfortable clothes to wear at home because they were sitting inside their houses. They wanted to be comfortable. There were people shopping for activewear, and we've done focus groups where we heard women talk about how they go to the parks and everybody's just outside, maybe because they want an excuse to step out of the house, but everybody's in the parks, everybody is dressed in fashionable activewear, and they're all jogging, running, exercises, or just walking. So activewear picked up. And what was an interesting tidbit that we got when we were just scouting for information was from a newspaper article we read that the Google search interest in Southeast Asia alone for the top two brands, activewear brands, grew by like 605% between Jan to June 2020, which was quite a big amount. And we also came across articles where sporting goods company, a sporting goods and apparel giant mentioned that the growth during the pandemic has been dynamic indeed, as this person put it. So that was about fashion. And even in the beauty category, we did see growth. Now, people were sitting at home, so you wouldn't expect them to buy makeup, and that's true. They wanted to be very comfortable in their own skin because they're sitting at home. They don't want to be caked with layers of makeup. So they started focusing on products which gave them naturally beautiful skin and hair, and that became like the thing for them, because if you're presenting, if you're on a video call, you've got to look beautiful without having layers on your face. That aside, there were also a couple of new skincare regimes which were possibly present, or some new ones emerged. So one of them was skin protection, but from the blue light emitted from screen. So that became that kind of gained focus, and there were brands launching products for it. Apart from that, pandemic came with two gifts. One was maskne and one was hair loss. So people started looking for products to combat these issues, and so these were some of the reasons why we saw the skincare grow. It was surprising but interesting for us, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that Sneha is so passionate about fashion and beauty. I guess she can relate very well as far as our lady audience here. While these two are big categories, they did not grow as much, as compared to other categories during this pandemic in terms of the base of customers. Yeah, categories that enhance home living. Like toys and hobbies, electronics, home appliances, and also any home and living categories like furnitures and accessories. These are very high growth area because probably the base is smaller to begin with. Yeah. So these categories could increase from 50 to 70% in terms of the buyer base. Yeah. We check it in terms of any purchases in the last 6 months, and between the last 6 months, did they use the online or offline channel? Yeah, and we saw the highest growth of online channel in these categories which I've mentioned. Yeah, so as we all know, now because of the homebound work and studies kind of lifestyle. All people who work from home need like extra laptops, IT accessories, and families also purchase like furnitures and accessories online to set up new workstations so that they can have their own space, not stepping on each other's toes. And also aside, they are spending so much time within the four walls. And so the family members will look at the homes and say, oh, how can I recreate a more comfortable and spacious, harmonious environment, so that we can have family activities together. Hence, I believe there's a surge in terms of like hobbies and lifestyle product. Yeah.
Sure, I think that's very interesting. So with the changes in consumers' behavior that you highlighted previously, so of course we also will see some new consumers' expectations as well. So how can our brands serve their customer better moving forward?
Yeah, thanks for the good question. Yeah, many of our clients stop short at observing shopping behavior of their customers, But at Asian Insight, we always advise our clients to deep dive into the underlying needs of their customers. Because behavior can change, but underlying needs will stay for a long time. Yeah. Hence, we want to share some of the core consumer needs which we have uncovered during our studies, our survey, especially the numerous focus group that we have done, over this period. Yeah? So as we all know that pandemic climax did create some kind of stress, whenever there's this new semi-lockdown alert, like the recent case, then consumers fall into a certain kind of emotional dip, Then they try to readjust and adapt to the new constraint. And they try to look for benefits, of staying at home. And many found this benefit of stay-home paradigm, which Asian Insight label as me time and we time. Yeah, me time meaning they find that, I have more quality time by myself, with myself, and also with my family members. Yeah, which we call it we time. Yeah, so it's me time and we time. So let me give examples from the parents and kids segment. Yeah, during the lockdown period, parents indeed can go crazy with kids at home, You imagine you have 2 to 3 children and all have to do kind of like home-based studies. But on the other hand, parents began to appreciate the beauty of the we time, the opportunity to reconnect, rekindle strong bonding with their children. So they started to explore entertainment, hobby options with their children. So some mothers would shop for books, art and craft material. One mother even mentioned that she subscribed to an all-in-one box kind of DIY activity, and it comes to their home regularly, and open up as a surprise, and you can have fun with the children. So I think it's not surprising that our survey shows that the online buyer base of toys and hobbies, although it started very small before the pandemic, about 14% in 2018, but it grew to about 81%. Yeah, that means anybody whom I survey has bought a toy and hobbies kind of product, shop online, 81% shop and buy online. Yeah, so the increase is about 6-fold. Yeah. And then the second category is actually, or highest category, is actually electronics product, which I think is not so surprising. The base is actually not small, it's about 30% in 2018, but it has increased to about 78%, which is a 2.7 times increase, which is not small either. So we know that working adults need to purchase new laptop accessories, and all kinds of from monitors to storage devices, mesh router, and so forth to increase our work productivity, right? But at the same time, they also expand their repertoire of digital devices like tablets, electronic games, so that they can keep their kids occupied, and entertained while they focus on the work. Yeah, I'm sure we are all familiar with that kind of scenario. And besides, those devices can be used for family bonding and activities to entertain each other as well. Yeah. So, Neha, you want to share about your findings about family as well?
Yeah, so it was not just electronics, but even appliances, household appliances. During the pandemic, people are sitting at home, binging on OTT became very popular. and it became like this family entertainment option. So people decided to upgrade their home entertainment systems. They started buying bigger screens. They started buying better sound systems. Even mothers, so we're sitting at home. You're managing. If they're working moms, they're managing their work. They're managing their chores. They're managing their kids. They're cooking for the family. So just to make their lives a little more easy, they started buying appliances for cooking and baking. That aside, you've also got to get creative. There was this newfound need for healthier food for my child or for my family in general. So they started experimenting with new appliances like air fryers, blenders, ovens, etc. In fact, one of the global electronics and home appliances companies saw their sales like go up during the pandemic in the first quarter of this year. That aside, people have been cooped up all day. And then, like Chonghin mentioned, right, you're sitting at home, you're looking at the four walls, and they started realizing that there is a need to make the space more conducive, more comfortable, more harmonious, so that, well, the families can stay together without stepping on each other's toes and annoying each other. So they started buying sunshades, curtains, air purifiers, plants to give the house a very nice, warm feel, fresh feel. So which is why when we're talking about the other two high growth categories, we say it's home appliances and generally home and living category. These two categories saw a growth of almost 50% from a base of 20% prior to the pandemic. We've even like heard of home remodeling companies which talk about how there was like a surge in leads by 50% or more because people started looking at ways of redoing their home spaces and making them better in general. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we notice these categories has naturally grown, due to the, market situation. But we always remind our clients, businesses not to sit on their laurels, but just because competition is also very steep, right? So our recommendations for brand is always to demonstrate an understanding of customers' needs. So, tapping on the idea of we time, we recommend some of our clients that they can offer products, solutions, and, to also anchor their marketing strategy in terms of meeting this need of we time. For instance, brands can offer solutions that help family to create bonding, sharing of fun together, foster deeper connection, and even recreate wonderful memories. Like I've mentioned, they want to salvage the lost memory with their children. And so brand can leverage on this idea to build their brand position as well as their communication.
How about young adults or family without children?
So it's not just the parents with kids, right? Even the young adults sought we time. It was just that the kind of we time they sought was different. Their we time revolved more around connecting with their friends, rekindling old bonds. And this could go to as long as my school friends whom I've lost touch with. And we've actually heard consumers who spoke about how they reconnected with their preschool friends and bonded with them, etc. So they started uncovering the value of reconnecting with long lost friends. So while the we time proposition is relevant to them too, it's just a very different way in which it is relevant to them. And not just that, even this whole me time concept that Chonghin mentioned before, right? We learned that because people are sitting at home, and especially when the pandemic started, they realized that they have more time to themselves, and they should be spending some time for themselves also because it's quite morbid and dark, and they should be doing something to just uplift their own selves. So there was this search for avenues for self-pampering, self-care. They've also developed different hobbies. So we've seen a lot of home bakers pop up suddenly during COVID. So they've rediscovered a newfound love for baking or gardening or just decorating their houses, doing some DIY and improving just to keep themselves happy. It's not just that, even the fashion and beauty category we spoke about before, if you keep digging, the deep underlying motivations for the purchase was because they wanted to pamper themselves, make themselves feel a little more happy with retail therapy. Even personal devices, electronic gadgets became like a means of me time because you plug them on and you can escape into your own space with them. And So basically we feel like this whole space of me time, this need for me time, this need for we time is, and the need for escape time is something that brands can capitalize on, whether you're a fashion brand or whether you're a beauty brand, electronics or home or living or household appliances. You should consider offering solutions that target these three needs of consumers. And this could be a product, it could be a communication, but help consumers understand how can they pamper themselves, indulge, take care of themselves. Or maybe brands, you could change your positioning or marketing communication to help convey how your brands can help them escape and or maybe connect with a long lost friend or your newfound self, for example.
So previously, both of you have highlighted the changes in beauty and fashions, personal electronics, appliances during COVID. How about grocery shopping?
So surprisingly for us also, the online shopping growth for the online portion of groceries didn't grow. It was the lowest, in fact, across all categories. From 18% in 2009, we saw it grow to 38%, which is 20%, compared to the figures I just rattled before, which is 68, 62, etc. Amongst online shoppers, now while we didn't see an increase in base, what we saw was an increase in spends, which grew by 82%. So there weren't more people buying online in the past 6 months, yeah, not before. This is like past 6 months figure. There weren't more people buying online, but they were spending more on online purchases, and which was quite interesting for us. Even when we like scout through secondary sources, we realize that people still prefer going to supermarkets and grocery stores because it's the whole sensorial package. You get to feel things, you get to smell a product, you get to explore a very colorful aisle. So it's a very leisurely, fun experience for them.
And we noticed, as we spoke to some of the ladies who are shopping for grocery, they attributed the purchase of standard large bulky items like home cleaning, rice, where they do not need to go and feel and touch. Yeah, they actually increased quite a lot of spending on online purchases. Yeah, but for food items where they want to shop around and they want to enjoy some cheap thrills, we call it the relaxing moment, which Sneha has explained, right? So they would want to have hands-on experience at the grocery shops. Yeah, so grocery brands can consider, offering solutions and ideas for customers to bring home like indulgences, right? So that's how we advise our clients in this category. To satisfy this, again, the same me time and we time need. So, for example, food brands can provide a bundle, say a DIY gourmet meals, and they can provide a complete set of cutlery or even table decor, so that customers can bring home a fine dining or even a family party kind of pack, and just set up and enjoy themselves. Yeah. So there's some ideas we have for our clients as well.
I think that is a very interesting idea. Now we move on to the next. How do you see stay-at-home economies is changing or being reshaped post-COVID-19?
Okay, so let me put it this way. We've lived in a pandemic for a year, right? And for a year, we've called it the new normal. We've heard every newspaper, every publication call it the new normal. But I'm not sure if we've actually accepted it as the normal, right? Because if you talk to people, you keep hearing about, oh, we will resume normal life. Oh, we will go back to our routines. We will resume our routines. So that means that you're not internalize that this is going to be a normal life. You're still hoping that you will be able to reconnect with your offline life at some point. So now, as the pandemic situation improves, people will want to go and meet their friends. People will want to go and dine out. And we do see that happening, right? They would want to go and travel to places physically than just seeing it online on a computer screen. And this will also happen to retail. They will want to go back and shop at a retail store because that's still sensorially fun for them. Even from our FGDs, we realize that consumers miss the sensorial experience. They miss seeing people. They miss interacting with people. They miss feeding off the physical energy from different people. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that online is going to go completely as soon as things open up. No, it won't. Like Chongmin mentioned, people have tasted the three C's. They've tasted convenience, they've tasted how comprehensive online can be, and they've tasted how cost effective it will be. So online is, yes, here to stay, but it doesn't override the offline sensorial experience. So we may see a blend of online and offline going forward.
Yeah, indeed. Consumers are aware that we will not return fully to the old normal. Home-based work and study will continue to some degree. And research by an IT brand reported that about 73% of all employees express a desire to work at home because it's more flexible, even post-pandemic. Yeah, and I believe you and me, we are all used to working at home. We can get up right on time to work, dress casually, or some of us even in boxer shorts, and it saves us time traveling and so forth, right? And squeezing in public transport. So, and also 66% of businesses are considering redesigning their physical workspace to better accommodate what they call a hybrid work environment, right? So the new norm, the key word is life going hybrid. Hybrid between virtual and reality, digital and on-site, So this hybrid lifestyle will have a rub-off effect and will propel our hybrid shopping behavior even further. A hybrid between online and offline shopping kind of experience.
Last but not least, so how can business better prepare for this new norm, the hybrid lifestyle?
So like Chonghin just mentioned, right? We will continue, like businesses are considering a shift. We will continue with your virtual work life for a while more. With more time spent at home, the needs for the ones we mentioned, we time, escape, they're still going to be relevant. People will want self-pampering and bonding within the confines and within the comfort of their home. So it's important that brands understand and continue to understand these evolving consumer needs and the emerging ones that would come with the new hybrid normal that keeps evolving. It's important that they ensure that their product offerings, their brand positioning, their communication, everything continues to evolve and remain relevant with these needs as they change.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And also, secondly, I think the importance of the hybrid digital versus on-site or real-life person paradigm, Consumers are likely to flit between online and offline channel in each of their purchase journeys. So on one hand, businesses need to consider how to integrate, social, the sensory experience, right, into their online shopping channel, which was what Sneha was mentioning. And at the same time, they need to deliver kind of an uniform omni-channel experience, to provide a seamless, well-integrated shopping experience between online and offline channels. So Asian Insight, we are pleased, to share. We also have done some work on the online and offline omni-channel strategy. And if we have chance to share in the future, we'll be delighted to. So, but I would like to end off by thanking all of you, to be in this session. And we also have prepared reports from our studies, which we have shared for our audience to download for free. Yeah, and I hope this session will be really insightful and relevant to all of you. Yeah, so time back to Jen.
Sure. This brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you very much for your sharing.
This is Lazada Insider. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you click follow and subscribe so you don't miss our latest insights and expert interviews. Thanks again for joining us. Until next time, take care.
Lazada.